The NAFA Limited and Extended Care Planning Center, or LECP as we fondly call it, is an interactive community focusing on providing comprehensive, focused information on all the different facets of preparing for the challenges facing consumers who need to plan for unexpected extended healthcare needs. One area that we feel is a major contributor to comprehensive planning is understanding the role that Medicare does and does not play in the process. We are happy to welcome our newest LECP sponsor, Dan Mangus of Senior Marketing Specialists. A free subscription to lecp.nafa.org allows you to reach Dan and his team directly. Before we get started in our discussion about Medicare, let me fill you in a little bit on Dan's background. Dan has been in the insurance industry his entire life. Since starting his first insurance agency at the age of 18, Dan has been passionate about educating others about their insurance choices. As an agency owner, Dan's partnership with Senior Marketing Specialists began in the late 1990s, and in 2010, Dan had the privilege of chairing their newly formed advisory council and continues to sit as chairman of the board today. We are also pleased that Dan is a member of the LECP Advisory Council. In 2012, Dan joined Senior Marketing Specialist brokerage team full-time as the National Sales Director, serving over 10,000 agents nationwide. Today, Dan's current position as Vice President of Sales gives him a unique line of sight to the customer, the agent, and the FMO staff. Although Dan has been sharing his insights and knowledge since the early 1980s, more recently you can find him teaching Medicare courses at universities, keynoting at national conferences, and teaching Medicare certification course for both the National Guardian Association, NGA, and the American Association of Daily Money Managers, AADMM. Dan is also an expert contributor for the RICP designation program through the American College. He is also published author of Talking Medicare, a resource guide for advisors. Welcome, Dan. I mentioned that Senior Marketing Specialist is a national FMO in the senior market insurance field. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about what value an FMO and Senior Marketing Specialists in particular provide to an agent?
Oh, certainly, Carol, and thank you very much for the introduction. It is very vital in the market that we are in to have very good partners in this industry. And what an FMO is, or our field marketing organization, is an organization that helps advise individuals impacted by Medicare. So the way that we have done that is we've assembled a team of experts just ready for any kind of question, any kind of situation that an agent might run into from agencies of all sizes. We have agencies that are a single individual all the way up to agencies who have 5,000 or more agents. And so that's the type of advice and assistance that we give. So very often, especially with financial advisors, they get very complex Medicare questions, Carol, and we want to make sure that we're able to answer that. So we have a large compliance team that makes sure that all the answers are compliant, and we're able to address those. And the interesting thing is a lot of times that advisors have the questions about themselves and some of their own personal issues. But as Medicare brings its own unique set of challenges, the partnership with us helps a tremendous amount. Of course, we work with contracts. That's almost a given that we will help assist getting set up with a particular carrier. And we have an amazing team to do that, and a lot of ways of streamlining that after being in business as many years as Senior Marketing Specialist as they perfected that art. As well as creating marketing materials. They're specifically designed for whatever practice that we're working with as far as the agency or agent. We have a whole team that supports those types of things, checks them for compliance, and makes sure that they work very, very well. And that's not just print, by the way. That's also online media and things that an agency might need. And then we, most importantly, are support. Whenever you're talking with individuals, they have questions. Sometimes we have been three-wayed into many conversations, if that's the case, if a person wants to, or we can be completely back office, but supporting everything that they're doing. And there's a lot of different facets that we bring to the table to do that. But I think that's the main thing, is that you have a partner that can help you in real world situations.
Yeah, I would agree. And it seems to me that with so many people aging into the ability to qualify for Medicare, that it has become a buzzword in the media right now. It seems like every industry, from retail to technology, healthcare, they're all targeting this growing demographic. Can you give us a little insight into that demographic?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things, Carol, with an abundance of information like you just referred to, there's always an abundance of confusion. And I think that one of the things that's the most difficult that whole group of individuals faces is they look up information, or they Google information, and they get 1,000 answers to their question. They're trying to figure out which one is correct. And so that is very, very confusing. We do have, as a demographic, over 10,000 a day are turning 65 because they're baby boomers. And that's going to continue on for the next 10 years at that rate. And so it's just continuing putting not just a lot of opportunity out there, but it also puts a lot of pressure on providers, on insurance carriers, on the government to address the needs of those individuals. Another complicating factor, Carol, with it is that a lot of people are working past their 65th birthday, because to become, as you know too well, that if you want to become fully eligible for your Social Security benefits, that's not until right now, at least, getting close to 67. And so they're eligible for Medicare at 65, and yet they're delaying it, and they don't know what to do with that. Do they keep group insurance or not? Do they elect COBRA or not? There's a lot of questions that come up, and we're able to address that. That group is also very, very active online. And so what we have done to address that is we have an exclusive Agent Connect Facebook group, so that as an advisor, you can grab pieces of information, and on a daily basis, we put posts out there so that you can just grab and paste onto your Facebook page and communicate effectively with issues that may affect them. And not just specific Medicare issues, but also things that are relevant to them and their world, and things that are going on in their world. So it's an active online community. Then we also have all the latest news and updates that are happening. It is a market in transition. CMS is making a ton of changes right now. There's a lot of information that is going out in the news media right now about Medicare for all and other issues that are bringing up the topic of Medicare. And so the chances of some of your clients bringing up Medicare as a topic is huge. They also are a market that needs a lot of assistance very often when they have something complicated from other caregivers. And so that's where also too, I think, Carol, that you're going to see a lot of advisors see a lot of the questions come up as they are in their 40s and 50s and they're caring for their parents. There are many, many millions of people in this country right now that are unpaid caregivers, and are trying to figure out what in the world to do with that situation. So if the topic doesn't come up from the individuals that are on Medicare, it's probably going to come up from somebody who is caring for somebody who is on Medicare.
Yeah, I would agree. I also found that when you're discussing some of the other insurance products, hybrids or combos or anything along that line, you often have to dispel the Medicare myth that they're going to take care of it, as well as what you say is so true. There's so many different facets to it, and clients come with a lot of misconceptions, etc. So what resources are available to agents and partners, and how would this resource really help an agent, although you've named some which I think are going to be extremely helpful?
I think that there's several things that we use on a process standpoint, if you will. If you're meeting with a client and you're wanting to help personally assist them with Medicare, we can, of course, structure that and structure a department for you or help accentuate the department that you have. But one of the tools that we have is a quote engine that is, of course, all of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about is free to the agent. But there is a quote engine that allows that individual to view rates and plans and different details about those plans when they've had rate changes and what the details are as far as benefits. But then we also have an agent marketing portfolio. These are compliant, pre-made marketing materials that are ready to be personalized. So as soon as somebody wants to start communicating with their clients about Medicare, it can be online, like I referred to before, or you can make these compliant marketing materials that we have ready that it's just plug and play as far as they go. But one of the things that I think is very important is we use a team approach here. And there's several teams, Carol, that assist individuals. As an individual starts working with us, we have an agent outreach team that helps them to build their portfolio. So to make sure that it matches your practice and it matches your goals of your practice. We want to make sure that the product offerings are exactly what you want and meet every criteria that you want. The interesting thing is there's as many carriers and things that you don't want as if there is that you do want. So you want to make sure that you have that just right. So we have an agent outreach team that does just that. We also have a team that is a highly trained group of specialists to answer any kind of ongoing questions that you may have as you're doing business. They're our support team, and you can access them through email. You can call us, of course. You can also use our live chat feature in order to be able to communicate with us. And including, there's also a texting feature that we have for people to be able to communicate so that you can get a hold of somebody. And one of the things that you'll find is we're real sticklers for sourcing the information. Mary at the home office said it would be fine is not a good answer. It needs to be, where was that in Medicare's site? Where was that on CMS's site? Where was that on the carrier site? So that you can see that in print. We understand that we're supporting the reputation that you have as an advisor, and we don't want to take any risk with that whatsoever. So if you pass on information from us, you can sit back and relax knowing that we've done our due diligence in order to make sure that that's a good answer for you. We also have a training and education team, and that team is specifically designed to make sure that whatever type of enhanced education that you might want or more detailed information you might want on either programs or practices, that you have a way of doing that. Many practices that we do work with have administrative staff that they want to have brought up to speed on the basics of Medicare or how to work with the carriers, checking the commissions or checking their pending business and things like that. And so in order to address that, we have a concierge group that their only job is to assist the new agents during their first year with us so that they're very comfortable with all of our websites, they're comfortable with all the carrier websites, and they can understand exactly how to utilize all the tools that we have. You may not want to use them all, but you need to at least know what they are and that they're at your fingertips. And then lastly, we have a group that is assigned specifically to build and implement business plans. Those are individuals who can take it and they'll interview you as far as what your goals are and what you want to accomplish. Your goal may be, I'm already in the Medicare space, I just want to figure out how to enhance it. And that's great. They'll make sure that the information dovetails and works with it, and they'll follow that all the way through to make sure that it's successful. But it also may be, I don't know anything about Medicare, or even if I should go into the Medicare field, and they can help you to determine that, whether it's a practical thing. For some people, it's not. And Carol, that seems kind of a strange thing to say, but for some individuals, they don't need to add another thing to their practice as busy as they are, but they do need to have an outlet for that. And so if that's the case, that team can also help you to set up a controlled referral program so that you have a trusted individual that you've interviewed that you can transfer and refer that business to, so that they can take care of those questions and enrollments if it's necessary. But they don't do anything that would step on the toes of your practice to make sure that if you sell life insurance, that you don't want to refer to somebody else that sells life insurance is going to write that business and do something that would impact anything that you want to have done. So all of that needs to be coordinated, and that's what that team does. So our efforts is to look at any way possible that we can enhance what your practice is, complement the relationship, and add true benefits to what you're offering to your clients.
So I think what I've just heard you say is if you actually want to add it yourself, that's a possibility. If you want to have someone in your office come on, get trained, and because, as you said, you're already totally business oriented to what you're doing, or if you frankly just need to field questions and have a good resource as an advisor or a wealth manager. And since you're part of the NAIFA LECP and they are NAIFA members, there is a trust element already built in there. It just seems that you can provide kind of a one-stop hub for anyone who is either challenged by a question or wants to enhance their business or frankly, go into it themselves. So I also noticed that recently you published an advisor guide, which Dan, I know that you authored. Can you tell us just a little bit about that? Not too much though, because I hope to schedule another short interview and we'll go into a little more depth on that one.
I won't go through it chapter by chapter for you. Well, you know, one of the things that we have an online university to resources, since you had just mentioned that too, that I think is important to know that an individual can come in and get pieces of information too and different pieces of training. There's a lot of fun stuff there. But as over the years, I had my own practice for 30 years and I sold it 8 years ago. But during these 38 years of meeting with clients and dealing with different situations, a lot of questions have come up. And it's also important to note that as an organization, we have over 10,000 agents and they work in all 50 states. So if you picture the kind of questions that are going to come into our office, sometimes they are pretty wild. I mean, you may only run into one, you know, once a year, but we're going to see that 10,000 times. You know what I mean? So it's just, we're going to see a lot of those. So in answering those questions and compiling those questions, we also have compiled those answers and where we got the answers. And so that it's a resource guide so that if you run across that, you can search through the book and find different things. If the question is about COBRA, or if the question is about HSAs, or if the question is about veterans benefits or Medicaid, or name whatever it might be, those answers and questions are provided in that book. And so it's just a gathering of information. It's just over years compiled quite a collection of questions and answers that have come up. Because again, and it's all linked so that you can utilize the links. That's important because as information changes, it's a lot better to have a link to the site where it's located than the document itself, because the document could easily outdate. The links will stay updated with CMS and with Social Security and with Medicare sites.
True. So we know that one of the ways that a NAIFA member and a prospective member could reach you is to go to the lecp.naifa.org site and connect directly with you or your team. Would you like to tell them now, though, how they could also directly connect with you and your team?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and it is, you know, in regard to that, sometimes an individual will wait until they have some kind of an issue to reach out to us. It's really good to reach out and kind of have a relationship built in case you do run into something. But our phone number is 800-689-2800. And a real person, by the way, is going to answer, not an automated phone system. unless of course it's after hours and it might go to our voicemail. But then an agent outreach team member will reach out to you, identify what kind of situations that you may be dealing with or what kind of questions you may have, and they're going to quarterback that to make sure that it goes to the right individual and they can answer or help you with whatever they might need. If there is programs that they have determined that you might need to be enrolled into, then that's going to go to our contracting team to make sure that all the contracting is efficiently done. And then next to our onboarding team, of course, and then the accounts team, and then the support team. So as you move all the way through, as I mentioned, those are different areas that you can access at any time. So calling into us, our website is smsteam.net. So smsteam.net. So reach out. There's a form on there that you can reach out and speak to us. And then also on that site are the emails addresses of all the individuals that are on our team, so that you can, if you do want to address somebody specifically, you'll be able to address them that way. It's a personal relationship. It's very important that we don't look at it as a company that you're reaching out to. You're reaching out to a group of people that are here to try to assist you.
Terrific. So I'd like to thank you for your time today, Dan. And we will be sending this interview out from the LECP Center. And we hope very much to schedule another interview. As you've mentioned, and as we all know, it's a complex and yet changing topic. And so keeping up with it is a challenge. So we appreciate your time and we look forward to the next interview.
Thank you, Carol.